Hey guys, George at SoundTraxx here, and in this month's episode of Tech Tip, we're going to talk about CV113 quiet mode. So what CV113 does is it determines the number of seconds after the locomotive has been stopped and all of the functions are turned off that the locomotive will self-mute. Now, typically you use the F8 on your throttle to mute the locomotive like I have here. When I press the F8 off, you hear the sounds come back on. When I turn the F8 on again, you hear the locomotive mute. Now this is a way to allow you to self-mute the locomotive. So the way it works, CV113 is set in seconds. And so the number of seconds after the locomotive has stopped with all of the functions turned off. And that's a key point. We're going to talk about it in just a second. So right now we're going to go ahead and set CV113 to a value of 4. So we're going to say 4 seconds after the locomotive has been sitting still with all functions off. Now right now I have the headlight on, and so it's not going to mute. Now as soon as I turn that headlight off, we're going to wait 4 seconds and you're going to hear the locomotive quiet down. Now as soon as I turn the headlight back on, you hear those sounds come on. Now if I start to move the locomotive with my headlight off, because the locomotive is moving, it will never mute. As soon as I come to a stop, we'll count 4 seconds and the locomotive goes quiet. Now this is important to know because the F3 button on SoundTraxx Tsunami decoders trigger the short horn when the function is triggered on and when the function is triggered off. So when I blow, then we're going to turn on the light. So when I turn the F3 on, you hear a horn. When I turn the F3 off, you hear another horn. Well, if I press it one time, technically that function is still on, and so the decoder will never self-mute. So I will turn off the headlight, but my F3 is still on. And so the locomotive is going to sit here until I blow the horn again a second time to turn the F3 off. Now the timer starts and the locomotive goes quiet. So now that you know more about CV113 and how quiet mode works, you can implement this on your railroad to help minimize the amount of sound that's going on that you don't need.